ये देखने के लिए
Documents of. Thank you, sir.
थोड़ा हंसने पहले
Right, sir.
हैं
Right, sir.
You are a repeat candidate.
Yes, sir.
कल भी आया था.
Yes, sir.
क्या क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट हुई कल से अब तक आपने?
सर एक तो जो सर ने फीडबैक दिया था कि व्हाई डू यू वांट टू बिकम अ जज, उसका आंसर चेंज करना है. आई हैव फ्रेम्ड अ बेटर आंसर फॉर इट एंड आई विल ट्राई टू बी मोर प्रिसाइज दिस टाइम.
These are the only two improvements. हैं?
आई कैन थिंक ऑफ देम राइट नाउ.
कल का फॉर्मूला
ये सेम ही है.
नहीं
जो वाला लिखा हुआ है उसको इंडियन सेंसर कर देते हैं.
But we had a very positive impression about you by इसका ना कल जो मैंने कमेंट्स लिखे थे वो फॉर्म लेके आओ.
कुणाल मित्तल का.
कुणाल मित्तल का. We had a very good impression of you. कहाँ से बैठे हो?
I'm sure comfortable.
नहीं हमें नहीं लग रहा ना कंफर्टेबल, हमें लग रहा है कि आप फोटो खिंचाने के लिए बैठे. Be comfortable. पीछे से बैक है कुर्सी के.
थोड़ा पीछे हो जा, आराम से बैठ.
आराम से बैठो.
Yes.
आपको तो कंफर्टेबल लगना चाहिए, हमें भी कंफर्ट, उनको जो बोर्ड वाले हैं उनको लगे कि कंफर्टेबल है कैंडिडेट.
Right, sir.
Otherwise, the inference is that you are under stress.
Right, sir.
है ना? You should look comfortable.
So I was being told that I have to sit at 80 to 85 degrees my back too. So that's why I was sitting.
लेकिन आपको लेके आना था ना वो जिससे मापते हैं डिग्री ठीक है कि नहीं है.
हाँ तो वही अभी भी वही बोल रहे हैं because you are sitting in 90 degrees. ठीक है ना, मतलब देखो ना आप थोड़ा सा अभी थोड़ा सा बेटर हुआ सर के बोलने के बाद.
Right, sir.
But otherwise you are very stiff. You can't sit like this ऐसे करके.
Right, sir.
नहीं चलिए मैं एक क्वेश्चन पुट करता हूँ आपको. आप इस पोस्चर में कितनी देर बैठ सकते हैं?
So for 20 minutes, I think.
20 minutes ना?
Yes, sir.
In the court you have to sit for at least 8 hours per day.
Yes, sir.
So
So I will not be sitting like this.
तभी आपसे कह रहा है कंफर्टेबल फील करिए, रिलैक्स बट स्ट्रेट.
Right, sir.
टाई नहीं खरीदी है?
No, sir.
हाँ.
It's the same one that I was wearing yesterday.
अच्छा.
Yes.
डेट ऑफ बर्थ बताइए आपको क्या है?
So 19th of December 2000.
एक मिनट बात सुना गई. ये कहाँ जाए तो?
Really sorry, sir.
इस हिसाब से तो पैदा ही नहीं हुआ अभी.
नहीं, हम तो पता नहीं लगा कि कैसे इंटरव्यू करें जब बच्चा पैदा नहीं हुआ.
Really sorry, sir. I filled this form in the very hurry yesterday, and I was not aware that it will come before this honorable panel. So there were a lot of mistakes that were
हम तो
committed.
बड़े हैरान थे कि एक बच्चा जिसने पैदा होना है उसने LLB भी कर लिया है, ग्रेजुएट और पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन भी कर ली है,
Yes, sir.
एंड मेंस भी क्लियर कर लिए हैं, प्रीलिम्स भी क्लियर कर लिए हैं, और आज हम उसको इंटरव्यू कर रहे हैं और वो पैदा भी हुआ है.
I'm really sorry about it.
This is just to make you relax, and but you should have a relook on whatever you write.
Right, sir. Right. Certainly. Yes, sir.
कल जो आपका इंटरव्यू हुआ था
वो ऑन करना.
उसको आपने घर जाके अपने माइंड में कुछ उसको किया था, एनालाइज के ठीक हुआ गलत हुआ कैसे क्या
0209 सर एक ही है, उसमें सिर्फ एक ही वर्ड लिखा है
क्या?
चार फॉर्म में से.
एक पे ज़्यादा सरका.
हाँ मुझे ध्यान है कि सर ग्रीन पेन का यूज कर रहे थे.
हाँ,
चार हैं, चारों में से सिर्फ
ये तो
एक
मेरा
है.
लिखा ही नहीं है.
तो कुछ से चारों में से नहीं किसी को
हैं?
कुछ लिखा नहीं हुआ.
तो ऐसे तो नहीं हो सकता कुछ लिखा हो.
ओरली ज़्यादा होंगे बाकी.
हो सकता है सर वर्ड
हैं?
मैं फिर चेक करवा दूँगी.
फिर मैं लिखते रहता हूँ.
मैं-
चलो हाँ बताइए क्या एनालाइज किया आपने?
So I was not precise with my answers. First of all, like if it was a straight question, I was going to the background of that thing first, and then coming to the main answer after that. And I think that was a big mistake. And the panel might think that I am a bit overconfident or about my knowledge, or I want to show them that I know things, which is not a good thing according to me. But that thing didn't strike me yesterday until you told it to me, and that's what I prepared.
I'll add one more thing to it, that when you give unnecessary things in your answer,
Right, sir.
that shows that you are not confident about your answer. You are not sure that your answer is correct.
Certainly.
That's why you want to supplement it and fortify it.
So that might be an impression.
Impression बता रहे हैं आपको,
Yes, sir.
है ना? You should avoid that kind of impressions.
Right, sir.
ठीक है? अच्छा चलिए, आप थोड़ा फिर आपको रैपिड फायर हो जाए कुछ,
No problem.
हैं?
Yes, sir.
What is a decree?
So decree is a formal expression of an adjudication by the court which settles the matters in controversy between the parties.
How it is different from order?
So order is not something which will basically settle the rights of the parties, substantive rights of the parties. It more relates to the procedural matters.
What is the difference between set off and counter claim?
So set off is given in order 8 rule 6 of the Code of Civil Procedure, and it relates with the money decree basically when there are two claims of opposite parties which are related to the money, and counter claim can be for any relief, like it can be a claim by the opposite party for any relief. For example, if an application for restitution of conjugal rights is filed before the court,
How
then
mandatory injunction is different from prohibitory injunction?
so in the mandatory injunction, the party is ordered to do something, do some positive act, whereas in the prohibitory injunctions, the parties are restrained from doing some act.
What is parallel writ parallel to mandatory injunction?
So it is mandamus.
Mandamus.
Yes, sir.
Who can issue it?
So the Honorable High Courts and the Honorable Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution.
What is the difference between Article 132 and 136?
So Article 132 gives a right to appeal in cases when there is a matter relating to the interpretation of the Constitution, and 136 deals with the special leave to appeal, which is a discretionary power of the Honorable Supreme Court.
132 is interpretation of the Constitution.
So then the appeal is to be filed against some question which relates to the interpretation of the Constitution.
What is the necessity for filing a second appeal?
So substantive question of law has to be there as per section 100 of the Code of Civil Procedure.
And what about leave to appeal by the High Court?
So in that case, it has to be a substantial question of law of general importance as per section 109 of the Code of Civil Procedure.
What is a precept?
So precept is a command issued by the executing court or the court which passed the decree to another court in whose jurisdiction the property which is to be attached is basically done.
What is the difference between review and reference?
So review is done by the same court which passed some order or decree, and the grounds for the same are some error apparent on the face of the record, whereas the power of revision is exercisable by the Honorable High Court when there is an error of jurisdiction.
Question was about reference, not revision.
I'm really sorry, sir. I would like to correct myself. In case of reference, when there is a substantial question of law and the validity of some act, ordinance, or some bylaw or any rule or regulation is in question, and there is no
How
doubt.
revision is different from appeal?
So in appeal, it is a substantive right of the party, and in the cases of revision, it is a discretion of the Honorable High Court whether to admit it or not.
No, where it is maintainable.
Sir, appeal is maintainable.
Division.
So revision is maintainable in the cases when there was some jurisdiction with the court but it has failed to exercise it, or when there was no jurisdiction with the court but it has exercised it, or when the jurisdiction was there with the court but it has exercised it with the
Can appellate court admit additional evidence in criminal cases?
yes sir.
Under what provision?
So section 391 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973.
Which one?
Additional evidence. 390.
Any additional court user?
Any additional evidence by the appellate court?
391.
390.
Yes.
So what shows?
What is discharge?
So discharge is basically releasing the accused before the framing of the charge when the court is not prima facie sure that the offence has been committed by him.
If a court issues the process, can it review its order?
So it cannot review its order as there is a bar in section 362 of the Code of Criminal Procedure that the order once passed by the criminal court, it cannot be recalled by it.
What are the grounds of review under CPC?
So when there is some additional evidence which was not within the knowledge of the party at the time of the trial with due diligence and it has come into light after the passing of the order of the decree, or when there is some error apparent on the face of the record or any other sufficient cause.
What is amicus curiae?
So, amicus curiae means the friend of the court.
When it is appointed?
So when one party files a petition before the court and the opposite party is not represented or the court requires the specialized knowledge of some person, then the amicus curiae is appointed.
Counsel is not provided, that will not be covered under the legal aid.
So the amicus curiae.
Yes, I am asking you, you said that when the other party has not appointed any advocate.
So not the advocate, but when the court requires the special knowledge of some person or the special knowledge on some facts which the court itself can't take judicial notice on, then the amicus curiae is appointed.
What is per incurium?
So per incurium is when some decision of the court is given in ignorance of some settled law which is already laid down on the same point.
It is per incurium by the Supreme Court of its own judgments.
So the Supreme Court, if it is a larger bench, then it can review its earlier decision. But if it is a coordinate bench or if it is a smaller bench, then the Supreme Court can also pass a judgment per incurium.
Whether Supreme Court is bound by its own judgments.
So the smaller benches are bound by the judgments of the larger benches.
What is court of record?
So court of record is one whose decisions holds a precedential value and who can punish the others for the contempt of itself.
In both the cases of High Court and Supreme Court,
Yes sir.
it is court of records.
Yes sir. Both are courts of record.
So you did your LLB from Rajiv Gandhi?
LLB sir.
LLB from Rajiv Gandhi?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Who was the vice chancellor that time?
So when I joined the college, it was Professor Dr. Karanjit Biswal, and after that he got shifted to SRM University, Sonia.
And who is the chancellor of that university?
So the Honorable Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court.
Appropriate High Court.
Of Punjab and Haryana High Court. Yes sir.
So can you tell me that you were talking about writ of mandamus and leading case on writ of mandamus?
So one leading case.
Any leading case?
So I'm extremely sorry, I'm not able to recall it right now, but I'll shortly update my knowledge.
Okay, you did A.K. Roy versus Union of India.
Sure sir.
1982 Supreme Court.
Certainly sir.
Page 710 Supreme Court. Here 710. It's a very leading case. A.K. Roy.
Right sir.
Very important.
Right sir, I will look into it.
Can you tell us that under what circumstances a person is not entitled to take any legal assistance? Is not entitled.
Is not entitled to take any legal assistance.
Not against any lawyer, no for the state services, no legal aid is available.
So can I take some time to think about it?
Otherwise, the Saab was given legal assistance. Bombay blast वाले को parliament को legal assistance मिला, इसलिए गांधी को legal assistance मिल गया.
Certainly sir.
लेकिन under what circumstances a person is not entitled for any legal assistance? Okay, you refresh.
So then it is a matter before the family courts. Then it is not required that the person should be represented by an advocate because the person can himself
Do
argue.
you remember Article 22 of the Indian Constitution?
Article 22, yes, sir.
What is surplus 3A and B?
It provides for the preventive detention laws and
This is A and B. 3B.
yes, sir.
Under 3 and B, a person is not entitled to take any legal assistance.
Surely, sir, I will look into it and I will try to.
And this is 2 conditions. It is one more, 3 conditions under which a person is not entitled to take any legal assistance. Do you remember how many sub-clauses are there of Article 22?
So how many surpluses? So I am not able to recollect it right now. I am really sorry.
You talk about preventive detention. Can you tell us what are the various preventive detention laws relevant right now?
So the prevalent right now is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act.
It is not there. Preventive detention laws.
So
What
section
you must have heard about NSA?
yes, sir, national.
NSA is one.
Right, sir.
There are 3 more. What are those 3?
Sir, section 151 of the Code of Criminal
I am
Procedure.
asking about the full-fledged legislations.
I'm really sorry, sir. I am not able to recollect it right now.
By which amendment the right to property was taken away?
So 44th Constitutional Amendment.
Who was our Prime Minister at that time?
So it was the government of Janata Dal. Most probably it was Morarji Desai.
Morarji Desai.
Yeah, right, sir.
Any special feature about Morarji Desai? Do you remember?
Special features of Morarji Desai. I'm really sorry, sir. I can't recollect it.
Okay, you read it. Can you tell us any amendment? This was taken, the right to property was taken by 44, you rightly said.
Certainly.
Can you tell us that which part of the 44th amendment was not implemented till today, although it was passed away? Can you amend it?
So there is part, the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act had amended Article 22. There is a provision in Article 22 which gives the power to the Parliament to pass a law which can provide for preventive detention for more than 3 years, for more than 3 months without the opinion of advisory board. That clause was deleted by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, but it has not been enforced yet.
This is one. What was the second?
I can't think of second right now. I'm extremely sorry.
Okay, simple. When this Indian Constitution was enacted and adopted?
So it was enacted on 26 November 1949 and it came into.
So, right. How many articles were implemented on the same day? 26th of November 1949.
So as far as I can remember, 15 articles were enforced on the same day.
You check it out, so not 15. Add one more, 16.
I can't recollect the 16th article, but as per Article 394 of the Constitution of India,
What is that?
right, sir, I will look into it. I will sure that get my knowledge.
So why, what was the necessity to implement these 16 articles on the same day?
So because some of these articles relate to the citizenship rights, and it was necessary to give citizenship rights to the person who
So
was
citizenship starts from Article 5 to 12.
5 to 11, sir.
5 to
11.
these are 5, 6, 7, 8, only few. What about the remaining articles? Tell me how citizenship can be acquired.
So there are various methods of acquiring citizenship. First of all, it is citizenship by birth, and by descent it can be, by naturalization, by registration, and when the foreign territory is acquired by the India, if any, then that citizens of that foreign territory, they become the citizens of India.
What is the difference between residence and domicile?
So residence is the place of the stay of person. It can be permanent or temporary, but domicile implies the actual residence plus intention to live there permanently.
So domicile is the place where one intends to settle down permanently.
Yes, sir.
So how much time is required legally to prove his intention?
So there is no such prescribed period.
5 years.
Sure, sir. I will.
Otherwise, 1 minute is enough. The moment you decide to
Right, sir.
live, that is enough. But
Right.
show your intention that you are to live there permanently.
Right, sir.
That 5-year period is required.
I shall be look into it, sir. I am extremely sorry.
Tell me about the Parajita bill.
So, Aparajita bill has been unanimously passed by the West Bengal Legislative Assembly, and it is a anti-rape bill. It seeks to amend various provisions of the newly enacted Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. It introduces the provision for death penalty in the cases of the rape, and it provides for the special task force for the investigation of the rape matters, and it also has reduced the time limits for the investigation and for the trial of the offences against women and children.
Are you in favor of death penalty in such cases?
So, as far as the human rights are concerned, I think death penalty should not be there, because we are now moving towards the reformative theory of basically punishment. But the Honorable Supreme Court has upheld the constitutionality of it. There is no problem with it. But the issue is that even after introducing death penalty into the provisions of rape, the number of offences have not really decreased. Like, we had introduced death penalty on the guidelines of the Justice Verma Committee in 2013, but even after that, the incidence of the rape has not decreased. So I think we can remove it from our statute book.
What do you understand by body shaming?
So, as far as my knowledge is concerned, it means to pass comments on the physical attributes of some other person.
What's wrong in it?
So, because
If somebody is fat, what's the problem in calling him fat? If somebody is thin, where is the harm in calling somebody thin?
So I think everyone has his personal space, and we should respect the dignity and other rights of the human being.
That dignity and right is also there for the person who is commenting.
Yes.
The freedom of speech is there.
Certainly, sir. But sir, every fundamental right has to be exercised keeping in view the similar and the competitive rights of other persons also. So these fundamental rights are not absolute rights, and there can be reasonable restrictions which can be imposed on the same.
Tell me about one single weakness which you are shy about, which you are not very happy about.
Your weakness.
My weakness. So as of this moment, I cannot think of any, but still if the Honorable Bench feels that there is any weakness, I will surely try to.
No, you must be. You have to do your
We are
introspection.
not,
You
we are
know.
not pointing out any weakness. You must have realized in your life that at this particular point, this is my weak point or weak aspect.
It is not related to your interview. I'm talking about like what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses.
So
Where do you-
I'm not very social, and it is very difficult for me to make friends because I don't talk much. So that's one weakness that I can think of right now.
But by going by your answers, by going about your personality and everything, I don't think that you have got this weakness.
नहीं,
Sir, I am
weakness
not-
नहीं है वैसे ये. This is not a weakness that you are not socializing much. Because when you become a judge, it becomes a good quality.
It becomes your strength.
Yes.
And in fact, that's what the code of conduct also says.
So personally, that's the only one weakness that I can think of.
Or okay, now tell me about second weakness. Because सर ने तो ये खारिज कर देगी ये weakness नहीं
नहीं
है.
है, weakness नहीं है.
So I'm an introvert person.
हैं?
Sorry?
I'm an introvert person.
This is also not a weakness.
वो तो उसी से रिलेटेड हो गया ना. जो इंट्रोवर्ट होता है वो तो सोशली इंटरेक्ट नहीं करता है. मतलब कोई गुस्सा ज्यादा आता है, नहाते नहीं हो, खेलते नहीं.
दाढ़ी कितना आते हैं जैसे आदमी बनाई आपने? Shave.
Yes, sir.
आदमी ने
crazy हो गया.
You should be ashamed of it that आज आप बिना shave करे आ गए interview के लिए.
I'm sorry, sir.
मैंने लिखा भी है कहीं.
चलो सर, टाइम फॉर फीडबैक.
हाँ, फीडबैक ये है कि आपने जो हमें सुबह बताया ना कि मैंने एनालाइज किया और मैंने डिसाइड किया कि मैं प्रिसाइज रहूँगा अपने आंसर्स में, अननेसेसरी एक्सपेंड नहीं करूँगा, बट स्टिल यू आर शोइंग दैट टेंडेंसी टू एक्सपेंड द स्कोप ऑफ. आई गिव यू वन इंस्टेंस. आपसे पूछा गया कि राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर कौन है, ठीक है? आंसर वाज PS जसवाल.
Yes, sir.
That should have been the end of the matter.
Right, sir.
but you added he shifted to Sonipat.
Right, sir.
Right? फिर वो 4 सवाल सोनीपत के बारे में पूछेंगे आपसे, है ना? फिर आप उसमें पानीपत रेफर कर देना, फिर 2 सवाल पानीपत के पूछेंगे, फिर आप कहेंगे कि अम्बाले से जाना पड़ता है पानीपत, फिर अम्बाले के पूछेंगे।
So actually there were around 3 vice chancellors during my.
नहीं, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा था, उन्होंने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा
हाँ जी सर.
कि जब आप वहाँ थे तो वाइस चांसलर कौन थे?
Right, sir.
P.S. Jaswal was the only answer that should have been given,
Right, sir. Right, sir.
है ना?
Right, sir.
You extended it to Sonipat,
Right, sir.
that should be avoided,
Right, sir.
ठीक है? Similarly, सानी साहब ने अपराजिता बिल के बारे में पूछा, आपने कहा यूनानिमसली पास हुआ था, इसकी क्या जरूरत थी बताने की? यूनानिमसली पास हुआ है, कैसे हुआ पता नहीं कैसे हुआ, आपने बिल के बारे में बताना है कि बिल क्या है,
Right, sir.
है ना? These are the things you have to work upon.
Right, sir.
तो जो किताब में लिखी हुई है ना यूनानिमसली, अखबारों में लिखी हुई है और यूनानिमसली पास्ड, तो ये ऐसा नहीं होता है, अपना दिमाग लगाओ और ये अपने हिसाब से काम करो।
चलिए अब ये बताइए आप, ये एक आपने हाथ में बांध रखा है, ये क्या बोलते हैं इसको?
नाम बताइए पहले क्या बोलते हैं।
ये बांध रखा है ना,
मौली बोलते हैं.
मौली बोलते हैं, क्यों, क्या पर्पज है इसका?
So, to protect yourself from the evil forces, I think.
So this will protect you from the interview board or not?
So I'll remove it before going there.
This will bring questions,
Yes, sir.
uncomfortable questions.
Yes,
for
sir. I'm aware of that, sir, and I'll surely remove it before going there.
you. You are aware still you have not removed it. ठीक है? फिर शेयर भी करिए आज आपने।
Sorry, sir.
नहीं सॉरी नहीं, ये पर्सनैलिटी के आपके रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं कि आप कितने सिंसियर हैं अपने बारे में।
Right, sir.
जो अपने बारे में सिंसियर है और डेडिकेटेड है, वो काम के लिए भी डेडिकेटेड होगा,
Right, sir.
है ना?
Right, sir.
If you are not worried about your outfit,
Right.
then it is presumed के काम के बारे में भी ऐसे हो, कोई फाइल फटी है तो फटी है, कोई पेपर ठीक से लगा है नहीं लगा, कोई परवाह नहीं है, है ना?
Certainly, sir. Certainly.
बस एक मौली थी आपकी, एक शेर था और एक क्लाउड शेर को कहते हैं, इसको मौली को बोलते हैं, मतलब है ना?
ये 2 पेन भी लटका रखे हैं।
पेन 2 तो रखे हैं।
So one is blue and one is black.
अच्छा,
अवॉइड कर लो।
ब्लू कहाँ यूज करते हैं, ब्लैक कहाँ यूज करते हैं?
So in my student days, I used to write the headings and the questions with the.
नहीं, now you are not a student age, now you are going to be a judge.
So at most of the places we can use both, I think. Both are allowed, black and blue.
मतलब पता क्या कहने का मतलब ये है कि आपके फॉर्म में क्या लिखा है, आपके इससे क्या क्या हमें नजर आ रहा है, ये सारे क्वेश्चंस अट्रैक्ट करते हैं,
Right.
है ना? जैसे आज एक लड़की पेन हाथ में लेके आ रही है, हमने पूछा भी हाथ में पेन क्यों है, फिर कुछ लिखना पड़ सकता है, लिखना पड़, कागज तुम्हारे पास है नहीं, ठीक है? ऐसे 2 पेन जब आपने लगाया तो यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट सम क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस,
Right, sir.
तो ये हमने अवॉइड करनी है चीजें, उसको रिस्ट्रिक्ट करना है स्कोप को इंटरव्यू को,
Right, sir. Right.
है ना?
Right, sir.
ठीक है?
Right, sir. Right.
तो कल भी हमने आपसे कहा था कि आपकी अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस है, आप काम करिए इस पे, और वी होप दैट व्हेन वी मीट नेक्स्ट यू इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ एज ए जुडिशियल ऑफिसर।
Thank you
ठीक
so
है?
much. Thanks.
ओके।